GPVWC, racing in old Indy. Woo! GPVWC, you better have your connection for all to see. Yeah, GPVWC, don't team move. So I come me, I said GPVWC. Ha! That's all today, I promise, for anything musical going on in the world. Hello and welcome everyone to GPVWC's Super League race here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We are just in the warm-up session before we go into the race itself, and this race is looking to be hotly contested. My name is Simon Smith, as ever your commentator, dragging the levels down further and further into the depths of hell faster than you can say dildo. Also, we have Mr. Simon Melhuish, who is our cameraman extraordinaire, who is enjoying the wonderful world of more than 7 FPS, and he will be delighted with that because then he won't be bored to tears and having a migraine at the same time. Qualification was absolutely tighter than a virgin. There was 2.5 seconds separating the entire field, would you believe, first to 22nd, and it was Peter Casa that got the pole position in a last minute. Well, it was past the checkered flag. It was literally the last person across the line. Fantastic lap by just over a tenth from the rest of the field, and it was so close. I think the top 11 were separated by a second. And there was only 3 people over the 2-second mark, so it really is looking like being a real closey. And of course, the Indianapolis circuit represents or lends itself to fantastic racing and overtaking because you've got the magical banked curves, obviously. That's my good luck message to everybody. And people just messaging me some of their strategies and so on. I think there'll be generally on a 2-stopper. 3-stop may be a little bit too slow, I'd imagine, because obviously long old pit lane. A lot of people moaning actually about the pit entrance because you've got to play the wall of death around the outside, and caught a few people out in practice actually, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be dry. It's 73 laps, obviously, and it'll be probably one of the slightly quicker ones to be over with because in practice Lee Morris is currently top of the standings with a 109.3, so it should be good. A couple of places have got some rather harsh rumble strips going on, so that curbs some of the running out wide in the middle sector that you can sometimes gain an advantage. I think we all know where we're talking about, the end start of sector 2, where you can run out wide from the right-hander and just floor it and push everything forward. Some harsh strips stop you from doing that. When I lost control slightly of my FC car on Tuesday, I went for a little mini airborne moment, and it certainly didn't do my aerodynamics any good whatsoever. Championship standings. Of course, we have just the 4 races left to go now, and it's Lucas Euler with 273 points ahead of Ruud Heesterbeek with 246, and it's really those two in it. Casa is third ahead of Paresis in their little squabble.
Attention, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Non-essential personnel just gets stuffed. Carl Smith now down to 5 ahead of Cooper, Redshaw, Van der Voort, Jason Muscat and Lee Morris rounding out your top 10, and then in the constructors it's still very much midnight, pulling away from Nijo, who of course had that retirement for the 3rd time in a row last time out in Germany. Then we've got Torrent, Nordzone, Hawkeye, Red Archer, Kernel, Roods, Green Stripes and Phoenix rounding out your top 10. So track is indeed dry as they're getting themselves onto the grid. Pretty much uniform in tyres as well, so this should be interesting to see how they all get round. Peter Casa then, pole position for Torrent Motorsports, looking like could very well break the drought of wins for Torrent Motorsport. Then Ruud Heesterbeek is alongside in the Nijo. 3rd is Jim Paresis, out-qualified by Casa for the first time in a few races. Then it's Alex Cooper in 4th position in the top of the Midnights. Another surprise there for him. Lewis Redshaw in 5th position, spent most of qualifying bemoaning himself and then pulled in a good one at the end. Lucas Euler in 6th position. down slightly further than what he normally is. Lee Morris in 7th. He's gone for the normal tyres as to everyone else as well. Quite often we've seen him doing different strategies, not today, at least at the start. Tom van der Voort in 8th. Cursed himself, saying it was all going well, and then he got pummeled down right at the very end. Pavel Luknovsky put in a good lap at the very end as well to go 9th for Nordzone. So a completely different collection of cars throughout the top ones there, as one of the Nijos is really lagging out badly, so hopefully that will come back. Oscar Hardwick rounds out the top 10 for Hawkeye. Then it's Harley Hamnet, another great performance in the ST11, ahead of Stephen Diem for Nordzone, making his, I don't know if it's his season debut, but it's certainly his first race in a while there for Stephen. Then it's Bart de Vos in 13th for Green Stripes, Adam Rouse 14th for Top Woods, Kernau's in 15th with Kenny Lybeer, Top Kernau, ST with Merton Bernanson in 16th, so that's got to be best ST qualifying of the year. Ben Warren 17 for Woods Racing, back in the car, and hoping that he can bring that one home for a point potentially. The Red Archers very much out of position there. Jason Muscat 18 and David Junt 19, normally much higher up, but they are both on the harder compound, and that could very much explain why. Boyd Bryson and Kieran Ryan 20th and 21st on different sets of tyres there. Bryson on the soft, Ryan on the hard. Moodley is 22nd position, and he is our last starter. No Constants, no Stantons here today, so that with Halcyon already out and Constant not here, a slightly reduced field, and that pays into people like Green Stripes, ST and Phoenix, because they'll be less competition for the points, because Constant can quite often nick the last couple. So just lining up onto the grid, one of the Phoenixes has got it a bit wrong. He's in position now, and here come the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and we are off and away here for the Indy circuit. Parisis away tardily off the line, and Cooper much better. Parisis dropping down to 5th already, but Castle well clear of Heasterbeek, and Cooper crowding out Redshaw down into turn 1 as they come through. Is everyone all right? It looks like the Phoenixes have both gone flying up the field there, especially Kieran Ryan into 10th. Everyone else has got round okay. It's Euler who's down in 22nd though. What happened to Euler? So he was hit round by the Nord Zone. Not great there. And he was then slightly tapped by Luknovsky. So Euler round off the line down to last position. And this is exactly what Heasterbeek needs for championship momentum. Fantastic stuff here for the potential championship to squeeze right up. So it's Casa from Heasterbeek, Cooper, Redshaw, Parisis, then Hardwick, Howley Hamnet just being overtaken by Lee Morris for 7 and 8. Then it's DM and Van der Voort down to 10th there, so not a good start by him. Muscat from 18th or whatever it was to 11th, fantastic. Then DeVos, Lybeer, Rouse, Warren, someone's round in the background, that's Boyd Bryson in the Phoenix, and he's just rejoined in last position as Euler quickly snibbles through. I think Lubnovsky was involved in that too, because he's down to 20th, unless that's him still recovering from his tap with our championship leader down into turn 1. Then at the end of lap 1, and Castor almost a second lead over Heasterbeek. Redshaw, then Cooper, and Hardwick having a look at Cooper down to turn 1. That didn't work out, and Paris is fancying half a nose back through. Very difficult to overtake in the midfield section. It's all about trying to see if you can pressure into a mistake, but the field very much spread out into several sections already, as Kieran Ryan's just overtaken Adam Rouse for 15 and 16. And Vinod Moodley has just smacked poor David Junt in 18th and 19th. Luknovsky having a nose at that too, so it's all a little bit scrabbly down in the back straight. Lee Morris having a look at Parisis for 6 and 7 too. Nothing doing there. As I say, very difficult to overtake in this middle section. It can be done at a couple of potential corners, but you have to have commitment from both drivers to ensure that there's not going to be a drama. And Euler already 14.3 off the leader. He's got plenty of cars in between as Casa goes round. 1.2 already the gap as he comes round over long bank curves to complete his second lap as the counter continues to tick up. What's going on behind? Cooper having a little look at Redshaw, but not really close enough to make an impact at all. Same with Morris on Parisis. Stephen DM has dropped behind Tom van der Voort down the straight there, so van der Voort now up to 9th position. Muscat and Warren scrapping over 13 and 14, but they're staying in the same. And Vinod Moodley dives past David Junt, who's gone in too deep for 19 and 20. Junt goes back round the outside, takes the position. Moodley off the track there almost, or off the racing line, runs out wide, and that's one gift there for Euler. Now up to 20th, this is going to be exciting to see him ascending back up the field. Next up for him is David Junt, who can't quite keep it on the racing line, trying to get tyre temperatures, I think, in that red Archer, and something else has changed. Jim Paresis has passed Oscar Hardwick for 5 and 6, and Paresis then up for Torrent, Oscar down for Hawkeye, and Lee Morris fancying half a look through as well. Those three very close as they come out onto this long, winding, accelerating curve. Of course, full throttle all the way around this, no doubt, no question. Even in the wet you do that. This is perfect for slipstreaming, and this is where the rev limiting and your gears come into such massive effect. Look at the way how Hardwick just sucks up onto the rear of Paresis. Paresis goes defensive, takes the inside line, puts him a little bit at risk on the exit of turns 1 and 2, and that's going to allow Oscar to have a go down into 3. Nope, not quite. But you really have to think, do you know what is my next move? It's like extended chess, because you're thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead, because you need to plan so that you're in the right place in the right corner at the right time. And Lucas Euler has got round David Junt and is now in 18th position. Luknovski's in the pits in 22nd. Not sure what happened there. I wonder if he got a bit of a damaged wing or something along the line. But not a happy hunting ground as Morris versus Oscar for 6 and 7. Lee Morris through into what is probably the best place apart from turn 1, overtaking, and then gets and consolidates it into those tight flip-flap hairpins. And look at the distance it puts between himself and Hardwick actually under attack from Harley Hamnet in the ST. Who would have thought about 4 races ago that ST would be challenging for 6th position? Harley Hamnet doing wonders in that car. Oscar goes so defensive. Look at Tom Vandervoort, he's going to do the double-double if he possibly can. Cooper also under attack from Paresis, who goes round the outside for 4th and 5th. Do they make it? Yes, he does. Paresis, a magnificent move for 4th and 5th, and Hamlet's round. Oh no, the commentator's curse. I'm so sorry, Harley. Didn't quite see what happened. Let me just do a quick rewind to see what's gone on. Oh, he's smacked with Hardwick. Hardwick in the barriers and is out of the race. But that was kind of a double effect there. 3 and 2, 1 not really going. And well, that has precautions because Hawkeye is busy battling in the Constructors' Championship, aren't they? With for 4th position, and that's not going to help them. And well, not a lot could be done there. Hamnet on the grass, out of control, and Hardwick pushing maybe a little bit beyond difficult to proportion blame there. Casa leads then as he completes lap 5 of 73 by 2.3 seconds. This is looking beautiful for the TMO driver. Then it's he's to beat Redshaw in 3rd, wanting that ever elusive podium position. Then it's Paresis 4, Cooper in 5. Still not dropped off the back of the Greek. Then Morris in 6, and you can never count him out. Vandervoort up to 7, that's a good recovery there from a bad start. DM is in 8 in the top notch zone. Then Bart de Vos 9th in the green stripes. Obviously newfound fun in his 2nd team of the year. Hamnet rejoined in 10. Then it's Muscat 11, Warren in 12. Euler now up to 13th with Junt and Vernonson behind him. Lybeer in 16, Bryce in 17 ahead of Moodley. Rouse now in the pits too. So clearly problems going on because Kieran Ryan is going very slowly as well in 21st position. So do we detect that Rouse and Ryan have had problems? Who knows? But Ryan limping round in the Phoenix. I presume he's going to come into the pits. Yeah, in he comes. Oh my goodness me, and into the barriers. That is a matter. Oh my god! Oh, I thought we nearly took out Casa. My goodness me. I nearly had a heart attack. My god, Kieran Ryan smacking into the pit lane exit because of the damage to his car, spins across the track. Casa nearly collected. How many lives does the Petter have? Mr. Peterbread himself. But he leads, but that scrubbed off a whole 1.6 seconds off of his lead there from Heasterbeek. Redshaw closes in, as does Paresis. Cooper has got Morris for company. Vandervoort is pretty much there too. Diemen has dropped off, as has De Vos and Hamnet. Ben Warren's got round Muscat for 11th from 12th position. That's a change there. Warren on the soft tyres. Muscat, of course, on the harder tyre. And so he's done well to punch that far above his weight. Euler, though, already up into 13th position from dropping to last. Mainly through all the drama everyone else is having. It's been a really scrappy start to this Super League race, actually, it must be said. but they're starting to settle into a pattern now. Junt and Bernardson are your last point scorers at the minute. Bryson and Moodley going at it, hammer and tongs at the back, and we're already down to 20, so only 5 of these won't score, would you believe? As Redshaw under attack from Paresis down the home straight, lap 7 completed. Paresis has to go back for a second bite of the cherry. I don't think Lewis wants his cherry to be anything other than nibbled at, so long as he stays on that podium position. Keeps third for the time being. Hamnet's past DeVos for 9 and 10 as they go side by side down the straight too. But DeVos is doing such a late break. Oh, he's lagged right out there. Where's DeVos gone? Lagalicious. I think Bart may well have had yet another disconnection. The poor guy. Well, he swapped teams and stuff, and I'd say that's retirement number 3. If that's a crash to desktop or a problem, then Vinod Moodley has got round Boyd Bryson. Yes, indeed. Bart DeVos is out. Oh, Moodley and Bryson contact for 16th and 17th positions. I know it's the battles over the wooden spoons, but at this rate they could be battling over 10th position because we've got such a rate of attrition going on here. And I'd say as Euler goes round Muscat for 10th and 11th, Euler now up into the top 10. Amazing, amazing recovery. 7 laps, 8th we're on. He's gone from 6th to 22nd to 10th. That is why he is leading the championship. And that is why he is asserting his dominance all over this like a hot thing. Behind, that's Muscat and Warren going at it again. Muscat runs out so wide on the banking. And he's thinking of turn 1 because through goes Warren and he's like, ha ha, and then he's like, oh, because you've got the slipstreaming action. Warren's trying to get a little bit of toe off the back of Euler. That may save him for turn 1. He goes in so late, the brakes. Oh, yes. Nicely done there by Ben. Because if anyone knows exactly how to manage his brakes on his wheels, it should really be Ben. Because he is the man who is able to do the gymkhana in real life. If you know what I mean, if you know what I mean. Plus, Muscat is also on. Oh, he's getting a little bit wobbly there on the exit. The old harder tyres, so he's got to think of a long game. Up front though, still Casa now 1.7, so the gap re-extending there to Heasterbeek, and Heasterbeek sitting there watching this points advantage or points regain just get chips quicker and quickly away as it gets slower and slower. As it gets smaller and smaller. Paris is still in third, having to go very defensive on Redshaw there. I don't think Redshaw will want to lose that podium slot, but he has done at the moment. Now only 2 seconds ahead of Morris, who's just got round Cooper down into turn 1 there. And look at Van der Vault back up behind again in the Nijo. And they're 4 seconds clear of DM. Hamnet and then Euler, your top 10. And if anything, actually, it's this little trio that's going on for 5, 6, 7 between Morris, Cooper and Van der Vault that is the closest collection of cars out on track. And they're actually, with Paresis and Redshaw scrabbling, they've kind of joined onto the back of that. So you've got like a extended 5-car snake going on around this Indy circuit. On lap 10, still 19 runners and riders remaining. Luknovsky the last of those currently. Come down the straight again, but again just not quite close enough. Cooper starts getting sucked onto the back of Morris, but they run out of road to really get it on, and that's something that you need to account for in a setup. Yes, you may have the fastest car, but on this kind of thing you almost have to overpower the front, the top speed, just to make sure that if you're going to pick up some slipstream it's actually effective, because otherwise you'll run into the rev limiter and you'll be like oh, and you've got this power that you just can't actually get going and use. So yeah, we get going on that one with the lap 11 now of 73 completed. 1.8 between Casa and Heasterbeek. Redshaw dropping off the back of Paresis and is actually dropping into the clutches of Morris, Cooper and Van der Vault, to the point where potentially, if not this lap, next lap around, Morris will start to get the slipstream of Redshaw down the home straight. Probably on the chip a bit now. Beautiful curve, even. Across the line they go. Again, Cooper pulling out of it a bit too soon as well from the slipstream. I'd stay in there a wee bit longer. Can't hurt unless you overstay your braking opportunity. And they're all still pulling away from DM. Euler's still got 5 seconds to catch up to Harley Hamnet, so that's all gone quiet there. The Red Archers are 12 and 13, very much on their own. Vernonson 14, Libeer 15. Slowly being caught by Bryson, but not at a very quick rate. He's dropping moodily, and then Rouse and Luknovsky actually in a wee scrap over the Wooden Spoon for 18th and 19th. Both having pitted, I'm assuming, with damaged cars from impact somewhere. They're not too far off getting lapped, actually, by Kassa. So they've got to watch out, because if with Rouse and Luknovsky maybe in about 10 laps, about 8 to 10 laps time, they'll be in amongst this Redshaw, Morris, Cooper, Van der Vault battle. Quite often traffic can really swing the pendulum about, as David Junt having a bit of a wild moment, but he recovered it nicely in 13th. Still, Redshaw hunted down. Look at that. This is the closest by far that Morris and Cooper have been to the back of Redshaw. Covered by exactly a second nigh on the last split. Yeah, Morris just seems to have not so much on the acceleration immediately out of the corner, but in like the second phase of it, he just seems to start gaining a little bit. And I think Mr. Redshaw may be under a lot of trouble in his ascension for a #1 in the charts. But they're just round the corner. They're Morris a little bit unstable, and if anything, he's now actually gone from the attacker to the defender. Cooper, is he going to pull out and have a go? No. Did not think of a late lunge. Now Morris having to deal with attacking and defending at the same time, and as soon as you start focusing on one, the other one starts to leave your brain slightly, and it's only the very, very top echelon of drivers as Morris takes a different move on to Redshaw. That was opportunistic. Redshaw retakes his line, miniature into blows there. Tom going for the inside line, Cooper cuts across. That was an ever diminishing space. There's Redshaw all over Morris. Beautifully done, and Morris has gone in wide this time, and Redshaw's going to come back through again. It's going to leave him disadvantaged out on the exit. Had to wait there for Morris to basically cut across his apex and go for it. Morris goes extraordinarily defensive. Lewis has the better racing line, but again there Morris keeps the apex very much covered, and behind there's problems. Cooper's in the wall. Cooper's in the wall. There's been contact between him and Tom. Tom is kind of waiting for him, I'm not sure. DM's gone through. Cooper's rejoined in 8th. Harley's there in 9th. But well, let me just take a wee little sniffle look at that. Oh, it was the tiniest of taps there by Tom that just sent Cooper into a lazy spin. Real shame there. And Tom waited for him and has dropped down to 8th as a result. Will probably be 9th. If he, yeah, no, he's kept that one all right. Right back behind Cooper. So gentlemanly done there by Mr. Cooper, by Mr. Van der Vault. Not often we see gentleman tactics in the race. And we've just been joined by Oscar Hardwick, who unfortunately had a very, very early exit from that race.
Yeah, a bit frustrating after the first good start I've actually managed with these things, but I guess that sort of thing happens.
Talk us through it.
The start was great. I decided to angle the car because the grid seemed very bunched up with the length to do things. Got around Lucas, deciding just not to go anywhere fairly well. Coming into 6th, got past Jim for 5th, so in the Superleague race, and it was really good. Felt like I could actually mix it with all the guys in that sort of midfield area, and everything was going well, and then Harley had his brain switch off for a few moments and wrecked me out of the race.
Yeah, it looked like an interesting coming together as again Redshaw under attack by Morris, but I don't think Morris nearly close enough. Just going to wait until Cooper DM and Vandervoort get past turn 1 because they're doing an almost nigh-on replica of exactly what you've done with Harley, except Cooper's going around the outside of DM. Beautiful move for 6th place there. That's a great recovery. Tom trying to get round 2 and DM all over. Oh, he's been hitting, well, attack left, right and centre. I think Tom's going to try and get him again. But nope, DM very, very passive there in the braking round there. He had the corner, but he just let Tom go, maybe wisely, and now he's got Harley to have a go. So is he going to lose 3 places in one sector? That'd be crazy if he does. Nope, Harley too far back to have a go. Now that that's all over, and Redshaw's back ahead of Morris still, but Morris ready to attack. Obviously your teammate's out there, although Morris is about to retake him. He has, I'm assuming you've set your cars up for the straight, because Redshaw now pits from 5th position. He's absolutely mullering everyone down there, but losing out in the corners.
Pits?
Yeah, he's in the pits. 5th place.
Oh, what lap were you?
18.
Oh, fair enough, that is right then. Thought that was a bit early. Yeah, the car is set up with, I won't say extremely low wings, but they are a bit.
Bless as Cooper defends heavily from 5th and 6th newly placed people, Cooper and Vandervoort. Tom trying to get back through without any puntage. He's definitely looking the faster of the two. Oh, side by side again. He's doing exactly what he done to Stephen, except Cooper's running him right way out wide there, and Tom keeps his grit in. Beautifully done. That is how you get around someone. It's just a little bit scary on the exit, but I think he'll hold it down into the danger curve. Up into 5th by Tom. I think we'll be pleased with that. DM and Hamnet right behind. Any particular tips or looks out for us in the race? As Cassa's in from the lead.
Going into that turn 1, that's where your setup really becomes either a passing setup or a defensive setup. When you look at Lee Morris with his straight line speed, that's a defensive setup. He's going to be very, very good at defending through the middle sector, but he needs to stay in front down the front straight, otherwise everyone will mull him.
And in fact, as they do come in, Cassa rejoins then. He's going to rejoin in 4th or 5th, depending on where he comes out with DM. I think he's going to get out just ahead of Stephen. Yes, he is. Beautifully done. 4th position, lots of clean air. Vandervoort and Cooper came in together, and Cooper has come out ahead of Vandervoort. So Vandervoort a much slower stop. So that is the, well, privilege, basically, of sticking all your money on a pit crew. And they're rejoining in the midfield. Harley Hamnet was in from and rejoins in 14th place at the moment. Oh, and Vinod Moodley's crashed into the pit lane entrance into the barrier. I don't know what was going on there because his car was running fine, but he just kind of drifts across like as if he thought, oh, I need to pit, and then just smashes into the wall. That is, well, that is very Vinod, is what I would say with that, as 2 more are into the pits, and that looked like Heasterbeek and Paresis both in side by side there. And we'll see, it's going to be another battle of the pit stop crews because they were close. Heasterbeek's getting away, although it looks a little bit slow. Is Paresis getting away too? Yes, he is, but nope. Rude's got it for the time being, but I think net gain in terms of time for Paresis as Cassa retakes the lead. Anything else you'd like to say, Oscar, whilst you're here? Any last memories as Lee rejoins in 6th position and has still got net gain on Redshaw? Oh, Redshaw gets round Morris on the exit of turn 1. Beautifully done there.
That's my boy. Yep, hopefully York I can get some good points here despite me not finishing. Obviously, it's, at the moment it's important to the outside of the Arch
Yeah, absolutely. But with 4 races to go after this, last question I'll ask you then. Abu Dhabi, Suzuka or Interlagos, which one do you think will be your little prize bull?
Well, Abu Dhabi's my favourite, so I'd say logically that one, but this league hasn't treated me logically at all this season, so I'll probably do really well at Suzuka. Aw,
bless. Well, go and roll around in ice cream and enjoy yourself, mate.
I shall. Thank you very much.
Take it easy. Lovely. That was Oscar Hardwick, who didn't last very long in this race, but after coming together with Harley Hamnet. We've got Kieran Ryan down in the chat. Drag in a second. Lucas Oil is in the pits from 5th position now. He's gone onto the hard tyres. I've not been keeping track of what everyone's on, but Cass has gone back out on softs, as has Heasterbeek, as has Paresis and Redshaw and Morris. Muscat is still going in 6th position in his hard tyres that he started with, as with Junt up into 7th. So that's working well for Red Archer. Cooper's in 8th on softs, as is Vandervoort 9. Euler rejoins in 10th, just ahead of Morten Vernonsen, but he's gone for the hard, so that's an interesting switch in strategy there for Euler. Vernonsen yet to pit 11, DM is in 12th, and he's gone back onto softs, as has Harley Hamnet. Ben Warren's just rejoining from his pit stop in 14th position, also on the hards, softs. Rouse is in 15 softs, Libeer 16 in the hards, ahead of Luknovsky on the softs, and Luknovsky's having a go at him for 16 and 17 down into 1. Kenny Libeer shuts the door. That is for net position as well, because Libeer, I think, may have been into the pits, I'm not sure, but he's looking a bit slidey. Bryson's on 18th, and he's our last runner, but they are most definitely doing for points and so on. I'm just going to drag Mr. Kieran Ryan up to see what happened to him, because he had a very short race himself. And here he is himself, Mr. Kieran Ryan. You only had 4 laps before that all went wrong for Phoenix, but you had a magnificent start there. What happened? That's speechless. Ah, bless. As Euler's off. Euler's off the track in 10th position, down into turn 1, had a go at Morten Vernonsen. Oh, it was just cutting across turn 1 and 2, so actually it's not so bad. It looks worse than what it was, but he just kind of tapped the back of Vernonsen. I think he got caught out as Luknovsky and Libeer battle over 15 and 16 now as Rouse pits. Again, Libeer keeps the position for now. Luknovsky yet to pit though, as here's Paresis and Heasterbeek battling for 2nd and 3rd. Side by side they go. Heasterbeek better on the straight line speed. No. Just let us know when you hear Kieran and I shall get to you, my friend. As Heasterbeek holds clinging desperately onto 2nd position. Paresis 3rd place. He's really came of age in the second half of this season. It's been a fantastic effort by him. Vernonsen finally pits from what was 10th position as he drove into the pits, already down to 13th. He's battling with Libeer actually over the last points or two, and Bryson and co. So see where he comes out, but still. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Right to meet him though. So how was your race?
Yeah, it was good. Made a good start. Made up about 10 places. Had a little half spin. Got about 5 of them. Was just settling it with Rouse kind of chasing me, and then I think into turn 1 there was some incident between DeVos and Libeer, and he kind of span around and then just kind of sat in the middle of the track. I kind of just tapped the back of him, but unfortunately Rouse didn't brake in time and got my rear. I was going back to the pit quite slowly and just lost it because the rear ring was a bit damaged, unfortunately. To me.
But you must be encouraged that Phoenix's pace has really increased.
Not really. We were kind of a bit disappointed after qualifying because we qualified 2nd last and 3rd last. It was quite close. There was about 2 seconds between 1st and 21st, and we were actually looking forward to maybe top 15 on the happen. But no, throughout the year, like I've had decent starts, so this was quite a good start. Fortunately, out this time. And Boyd is doing too well at the minute. Oh, he's 16, so maybe you might get a point in the end.
It could happen. So it's just looking at Rachel and Morris, etc. battling away. Oh, let's jump to Heasterbeek and Paresis. I might just quickly chuck you out because you've not got it going on. 2nd and 3rd position, having a little go. Heasterbeek versus Paresis down into turn 1. Doesn't quite work there for Heasterbeek. And that was the end of that. Thank you very much to Kieran there. Sorry we couldn't keep you in there, but Stephen DM has just disconnected. Oh no, he's spun. And I think stalled his car. So he's out of the race there for Nordzone. Their miserable day continues. Heasterbeek and Paresis still 2nd and 3rd, same positions. Redshaw and Morris still battling over 4 and 5. Muscat and Cooper battling over 6 and 7 with Vandervoort in a keeping a watching brief too. So little clusters going on there. That was Kieran Ryan who was in the chat room there, as something else just changed position. Oh, it was Muscat retaking Cooper. So Cooper had half a go down the inside, didn't quite work. Liebeer finally pits from 13th position. That should please the Phoenix team. As again, Heasterbeek under attack from Paresis, but it's very much different strategies and different setups and different ways how you've approached the race is really not helping Paresis out, because he's running out of straight line speed down into turn 1 for Heasterbeek. Those wings are low. Low rider. Same for Redshaw. That's why Morris is pretty much stuck behind the Hawkeye as well. So as that is Muscat in for Red Archer in 8th place. So that's the first of the hard compound tired people to stop. Actually, so second, Liebeer was in the previous lap, wasn't he? So that's put Muscat is just rejoining in. Yeah, 10th position. And they've gone for another set of the hards. So Jim goes through on Heasterbeek down at the hairpin, as you saw on your screens. Beautifully executed there. Ran right the way out to the outside line. And that's where he had to do it, really, in the tight, twisty circuits, because that's what his setup appears to be done for. This is going to be the key, though. Not enough of a gap. Heasterbeek comes through. Here comes the Beatmeister. Down into turn 1. Can Jim keep it on around the outside? He's the one that's got the better traction and the better aerodynamics through a corner, and he's made it count. But he now needs to use this sector to break away from Heasterbeek. They've got a car not too far up ahead that may help them out slightly. I think it's Bryson. Yeah, Boyd Bryson in the Phoenix in 13th position. If he can get that car or use that car for some tow down the straight, that just gives him another lap where he can try and cling on somehow maybe to this advantage. But I think Bryson will move out of the way before it becomes an effect. So Paresis very much staring at a hopeful for second place. Casa some 6 seconds up the road, swanning away in the Torrents, and Torrent would love a 1-2, I'm sure. But Nijo want as many points as possible, especially for Heasterbeek, to try and narrow in that championship advantage, because Euler's only 8th, and he's not really homing in as fast as what he'd want to on Vandervoort. Paresis under attack then from Heasterbeek, down into turn 1. No, he's not at all. Heasterbeek, they're dropping a bit back. That's helped him out. Same with Redshaw and Morris. They've spread ever so slightly. Cooper's got Vandervoort very much for company. 7/10 of a second the gap. It's down to 1 as they cross the line. Cooper goes super defensive. Here comes Tom. Again, just topping out at the end of the straight. Not enough straight line speed to get it done. Cooper King's on to 6th for now. So your rundown of the order as we watch the field go round. We've got Casa leading by 6 seconds from Paresis, TMO 1-2. Then it's Rude Heasterbeek fighting 3rd. Then Redshaw 4, just nipping off Lee Morris in 5 for Kerr now. 6th is Simcraft Midnight Motorsport, Alex Cooper. Then 7 is Tom Vandervoort. Lucas Euler's in 8th, our championship leader. Harley Hamnett's in 9. Then the 2 Red Archers of Muscat and Junt doing their hard. So they're clearly going for 1 stop less, I'd imagine, than everyone else. For 10 and 11. Ben Warren is still in 12th place, and he's keeping them very honest and closing them down, actually, because he's on a soft compound. Bryson's a lap down 13, ahead of Rouse 14. Liebeer is in 15. Lipnovsky 16, and Morton Vernonson's really lost out in this middle stint because he was much higher than that, and he's now last in 17th. I wonder if something's happened to the ST driver because he was ahead of a lot of those. There's again... It is Tom Vandervoort all over the back of Alex Cooper, who's popping out to have even more of a look. But I think once you've had that mini contact with someone earlier on, it puts you in a slightly different headset, because you're thinking, do I want to go for this? Because it's ended badly before, and it's the reason why these two aren't with the Redshaw and Morris scrap, and they're 10 seconds behind, because Tom was gentlemanly enough to let Redshaw and Morris kind of away because they were busy recovering from their own mini tete-a-tete Talking of Morris, he's all over the back of Redshaw at the minute, 4 and 5 as they come out from the final curve, but will he have enough to do something around this banked curve? Just look at the way he drops away. Which, round an Indy bend and with all that straight line speed and all the suction and the slipstream effect, you can tell the different setups and how that works. Behind, Cooper versus Tom. Tom's much closer than he's ever been. Can he brake later? Yes, he can. Look at Cooper. He's taking the speed in much heavily down into 1s and 2s. Side by side they go. Cleanly done again. For the second or third time. Oh, Tom four-wheel drifting round. Oh, I wouldn't get in a plane with that. Round. They go into the next little double lefty-righty. Bryson up ahead, and Tom, he gets ahead and then it all gets a little bit shaky Stevens. Needs to calm it down, reel it in. Speed in that car if he's got it. It's an ST that's up ahead, sorry, not Bryson. In fact, that will be then Vernonson in 17th place. Easterbeek is 1.2 off Paresis at the moment, so that has sorted. Morris again in a slipstream of Redshaw, but just not able to do anything about it. And Tom, broken free of Cooper this lap. Across the line they go, 7/10 between them, and now an ST as well, unless he gets out of the way for Cooper, which he does. Beautifully done there by Morton. You like a gentlemanly back marker. 8 seconds further back is Euler in 8th position. Worthwhile noting, because remember, he's on the harder tyres, so whilst he's in completely clean air, wobbling along doing his own little thing, he's getting rid of the slower tyre if he's 3-stopping. And it's Hamnet, Muscat, Warren has got round Junt off our screen, so that's a key move there for the Woods Racing driver. Bryson, Rouse and Liberia point scorers, with Lugnovsky and Vernonson outside the points at the moment. And no Nord zones in the points. That won't go down very well. They barely got any last time round. In fact, in the last 3 races, apart from a 6th place, they've not really troubled anything at all. So, get back going again as we'll continue round lap 33 we're on at the moment of 73. Casa 5.7 ahead of Jim. Jim is faster and he is closing the gap. So close in terms of raw pace, raw speed and so on between Paresis and Casa, which is what's made this battle for their 3rd place in the championship so fascinating. Because initially it appeared that Casa had a slight upper hand over Paresis, and over the course of the second half of the season it's twisted round slightly. And with 2 wins on the trot for Jim Paresis, he's leapfrogged himself up into contention. Casa has yet to not score this season. His lowest finishing position was 9th at Monaco. His best, though, was 2nd last time out at Germany, so this really is TMO coming good towards the end of the season, albeit maybe too late for the Constructors' Championship. They are 106 points off of Midnight. It only takes a 1-2 for Torrent and a double DNF for the Midnights, and suddenly that's all back into play. It's all a matter of relativity. Redshaw's still not able to shake Morris. Tom's not really shaken Cooper, to be fair. Redshaw's certainly the one who's looking under the more pressure of the two in those little mini squabbles. Hawkeye driver desperate for a win. Desperate for a podium. Best so far, 4th place at Canada for the Hawkeye team this season. 5 and an 8 last time round, which technically is, I think, their best. Yeah, they got a 4 and a 9 at Canada, so technically that is the best race as a team that they've done. Obviously, Oscars put paid to that one here today. Coming round to lap Bryson. Redshaw and Morris. I'm waiting for him to do one of those. I'll just go for a completely strange racing line and run you out ride moves, because that's, I think, what it's going to need to be done, because he clearly can't do it down these straights, although this is much closer than he was last time round. But it just starts to fall away in the second half of this kink. A little bit closer, but then he's pulling out, and I don't know, to me I'd want to stay completely underneath it unless there's some engine temp problem going on. Ah, okay, lovely. Just from my cameraman extraordinaire, Simon Menuish, who is completely, beautifully and intelligently full of intelligence. Oh, as Muscat and Warren are battling for 10 and 11 down the straight. Apparently you have to pull out to make sure that his engines stay cool, and that is Warren round the outside of Muscat into turn 1. 10th place for Ben. I'll be delighted with that if that holds out, but the Red Archers are doing a different strategy to everyone else. So I think they're trying to see if their fruit will bear at the end of this race. But great to see Ben up into 10th place. And is that Redshaw in the pits? It is indeed. 7th place. He's just coasting down and out. Going to rejoin just behind Euler. Euler goes through. Brittany comes back out in P8. Nicely done. Paris has now got that down to 5.1 seconds, although there are 2 cars to lap in the middle of them. And that is the Warren Muscat Scrapperoo for 10th and 11th. Jason did inform me of his pit stop strategy, gets out of the way nicely. So I knew they were going for something different in the Red Archer team. I mean, Red Archer themselves, they've had a little scrap in terms of championship points, but David Junt has had 3 retirements this year, whereas Jason Muscat is another driver who has scored in every race except one that he didn't participate in, which was Spain, ranging from 3 7th places to a 14th. And it's that consistency that's really pushed Red Archer up into their 6th position in the championship, way far ahead of Kernow. Though Kernow are having their reascension back up the points order next to Morris, but I don't think he'll be able to score quite enough to catch them back up again. Interestingly, Euler is not closing down Alex Cooper. The gap is still 8 seconds. So even in clear air, admittedly with a slower tyre, he's not really eating in. Whereas Tom and Cooper still having their little scrap with each other. And it'll be interesting as well now to see Lee Morris in completely clear air, to see what he can do on the remains of this softer tyre against Redshaw, who is out again on more softs. To see where that all sorts out pit lane respectively. Of course, whilst the race has gone a wee bit quiet, it's worthwhile mentioning that if, as Cooper and Van der Voort are in for another battle of the pit crews, we've got a Tin Top Series coming soon, ITC, coming to GPVWC very, very shortly. Get yourselves down onto gpvwc.com, get yourselves on the forums and get yourself signed up as Cooper takes Van der Voort in the pits. Look at that, they're going to come out nearly side by side. Cooper going to be naughty? No, he's not. Gives him the space. There's going to be a drag through. Goes Harley Hamnet just now. Oh, who's got it? Who's got it? Cooper keeps it. And for the third, if not fourth time today, Tom Van der Voort's got to do it again as Casa and Heasterbeek into the pits. Paresis continues on. So these guys clearly three stopping. It's the Red Archers who are two. They're rejoining in second, third it looks, because Morris is in from four. So no changes there. Paresis still keeps the position. Here comes Morris trundling down the pit lane. Where is Mr. Redshaw? He's going around the banking. It's going to be tight between who gets what. Euler goes up into fourth. Obviously he's trying to get through. I wonder if he's trying to kind of convert to a two-stop, you know. As Morris does leapfrog Lewis Redshaw by staying out and absolutely banging in the laps. So Redshaw will be sitting there going, oh. As he's lost out to Maurice. And that's a good little bit of nifty pushing down the hammer when it matters exactly to the point there for the Kernel driver. Exactly why he's so well known as Paresis in this time by. And he's not going to have nearly enough of an advantage to push back. Oh, and a slow exit there for Paresis. He kind of rolls forward on his pit blocks. That will not have helped out any of his re-push back up the field. And if anything, I can see Heasterbeek coming down the straight. But no, Jim's got it. Heasterbeek stays third. And my other thing will be exactly when Lucas pits now, because he can try and convert himself to a two-stopper, or he'll just get this out in the middle sector and then have the better tyres at the very end and keep it a 3. So it's Morris and Redshaw. Harley Hamnet now in from 7. Tom Van der Voort's got back ahead of Alex Cooper. Didn't see that one, I'm afraid. You may have seen it on your screens. But Cooper pulls out to have a little go back at Tom. That one's going to run and run and run and run and run. I'm sure of it. EJ versus some Midnight Motorsports. Harley Hamnet is just coming out of the pits in 9th position. Ben Warren's coming down the straight, but he's yet to pit. So it's going to be the battle over 10th and 11th, although it's a bit affected. In fact, Warren's got it. Warren goes up to 9, Hamnet rejoins 10, Muscat's 11, Junt is 12, Rouse is in 13th in the Woods. This is a good one for Woods so far. Liebir and Luknovsky are battling over 14th and 15th at the moment, with Vernonson not too far behind, and that's because Bryson's been into the pits. And then there is Liebir in now from 14th. And Rouse is in the pits as well. So plenty of pit lane action going on. Clearly almost everyone agreeing on a strategy here. As Euler's in. Oh yeah, I see he's gone for another set of the hards. As he rejoins in what will be 8th place. Now that potentially could see him go to the end. It will be an ask, but that could very well be a little coup for Monsieur Lucas. Not that he's French, but I do like a bit of French. Still the 5 retirements. Oscar Hardwick, Kieran Ryan, Bart de Vos, Vinod Moodley, Stephen DM. Harley Hamnet and Ben Warren battling over 9th and 10th, going side by side round the tight hairpins, and Harley gets it back up to 9th for the onomatopoeic name, in a way. Onomatopoeia? No, it's not onomatopoeia. Not a splash. What's it? What's the alliterative? That's it. Simon, remember your GCSE at English. Ben Warren moves into the pits from 12th place. The Red Archers went through. That'll do nicely. Cooper's still all over the back of Tom, but just no way through. 4.7 the gap between Casa and Parisa, so despite that slightly tardy stop, he has wheeled back in some of the pace again. So we'll keep a beady eye, because that's going to take a good amount of time for it to really unravel itself. And that's going to be dependent on how they deal with the hard tyres, to be honest. As here is Tom versus Alex for 6 and 7. That's by far the closest Alex has been as they go side by side down the straight. But look at the way how Tom pulls in to defend. He's just able to inch out a couple of metres on the very, very last dying sector of that straight, which indicates that his gears go a smidgy bit higher. Nicely done, got a couple of bits of traffic up ahead to negotiate. Starting with the Phoenix of Bryson, then it's Rouse's Woods and then Morton Verninson's ST. Lipnowski now up to 13 in the Nord zone, so they are kind of sorting themselves out towards the back. Boyd nicely lets the duo through. Worthwhile also saying the Red Archers are still nose to tail, as they were, I remember, in France as well. Another team that have got such similarly paced drivers. At least you can tell when one of them's having a good day or an off day, because they're then slightly more apart. At least all these cars are going faster than the trains that I was on this morning. Oh my god, the trains. Every single train, I only had to take 3 each way. There's like 2 swaps. Every single train this morning was delayed, so it took me 4 hours to do a journey that was about 35-40 miles. Rubbish. And then I had like this brain fade moment where I thought I'd left my wallet on this replacement train. It wasn't. It had just fallen slightly under my very ample moob, and I couldn't feel it. When you know when you do like that pad down of yourself, you're like, oh, I've forgotten something. Where is it? And then when all you can feel is a bit of a trusty moob, and you can't feel the wallet next to it, I started freaking out, and I went running up to the train. I was like, I've left my wallet on the train, and the guy went, it's too late, mate. So I then proceeded to scream obscenities at him in a very dramatic fashion. Whilst doing so, my wallet fell out of the coat and onto the floor slightly. pretty much been the summing up of my week. Possibly my life. 4.5, the gap now between Paresis and Casa. As the Greek continues to reel in. Pitterbread. Whereas the Beakster is still in third. 8 seconds off the leader and kind of in his own mini race there. Morris still ahead of Redshaw, and Redshaw reclosing back in on Morris ever so slightly, but he needs to get tucked up into that slipstream to really pull it in. It's difficult to know exactly which car is the faster of the two, because they have such different strengths and weaknesses in their setups around the circuit. I'd probably say Morris potentially is the faster of the two drivers, but Redshaw is able to defend because of the straight line speed. But I thought he'd be attacking a wee bit better by now. Vandervoort's now got a 1.3 second advantage over Cooper. Then it's Euler, who is still 8 seconds off the back of that duo. Then it's Hamnet, Muscat, Junt, Warren, Vernonson, Rouse, Bryson, Lybeer, and Meknovsky. So Bryson's got round Lybeer for 15-16. Remember, Euler, we don't think will stop again, or I personally don't think will stop again. So, the fact that he is now 13 seconds off the pace, he had a tardy lap somewhere along the line. Let's have a go. Not really. But yeah, the fact that he's 13 off, he needs to keep within, say, like 20-25, because he's going to have to deal with all of that as someone's in the pits. Morten Vernonson in 13th. So Euler obviously looking at trying to go, right, well, if I can't win, I'll have 6th at the moment, so that he can get back past his teammate Cooper and Tom Vandervoort, who's been kept very much occupied by him all race long. Race feels very much something like a springed coil, because the smidgy little slivers that Paresis takes off of Casa almost every single lap kind of points to a show-stopping end, maybe, if they're allowed. Of course, they are teammates. We don't want them smacking into each other at the end. Not only because it's bad for teammates, but because our cameraman extraordinaire is effectively the team boss. As Hawkeye versus Kernow, and Morris is down to 5th position. Redshaw up to 4, beautifully done. BMO don't believe in team orders, says Simon Melhuish. That's lovely to hear. I think I'd still be cacking myself though. As Redshaw defends heavily from Morris. Just needed to get into that slipstream. Oh, Mr. Melhuish says, oh, but I have a pillow though. I'm sure you do, but is it for biting? Redshaw and Morris continue on their little squabble-esque battle. Knows where that one will go. 3.3 now, the gap between Paresis and Casa, and that is because they are lapping the Red Archer duo. And that will be down to where it falls. And in fact, they've got a Phoenix up ahead as well, so that's... Not a Phoenix, it's a ST. The ST looks like a Phoenix sometimes from behind. As Morton goes 2 laps down, so that's all very much down to where you hit the traffic. I think potentially that may have hit better slightly for Jim than that did for Petter. As Junt has closed right up onto the back of Muscat. That's a team that certainly don't do team orders necessarily either. Judging by how they were going at each other at Manicourt a few races back. Both Woods still in the points, 12-13. And of course I can't help but selfishly think, championship-wise, this is only doing us good, because the gap between Euler and Heesterbeek currently stands at 27 points. And that would shrink down a little hefty whack. And with 3 to go, we can keep this championship going for any extended period of time possible. Good for all, I think. In my humble opinion. Tomorrow I'm going for an open air showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm assuming, well, I've been told it's not fancy dress. I would still like to go just as a giant tomato though. Might come to GPVWC Day dressed as a tomato. There's Morris again on the back of Redshaw. 4 and 5. Redshaw takes a slightly wider line through the exit of that banked curb. And that's by far the more raciest that Morris has been down into turn 1's apex actually. I wonder if that was a bit of a mistake there from Redshaw, I'm not sure. Here comes Morris. Oh, that's a new move. All the moves coming from Lee Morris at the moment. Thankfully keeping me vaguely awake. I've had about 10 hours sleep all week, and that's Redshaw into the pits. So again, first one to blink is Brittany. There's an album title if ever you need one, Miss Spears. And on to the hard compound. Now that can only really play into Morris's hands. It'll be interesting to see where Redshaw comes out. So through goes Cooper and Vandervoort, 5th and 6th, or 6th and 5th respectively. And Redshaw, oh, he's well clear of Euler. Here's a funny one. Euler's got Harley Hamnet for company because Hamnet is on the soft tyres, Euler's on the hard, and the ST driver has caught the Midnight Motorsport driver. I'll repeat that again. The ST driver has caught the Midnight Motorsport driver. What planet are we on? Obviously tyre, etc. affected, but still a miniature headline to think of nonetheless. Actually, Euler coming around to be lapped very shortly. But there you can see them, Euler and Hamnet, and that is Casa behind. And the more those two battle, the more that is helping Paresis, because they've not let up, and I wonder if that's because we're diving into the pits at all. No, both continue on. Casa stuck behind. The gap now down to 2.8 between Casa and Paresis, and that's because Hamnet's going for it, I think. Takes a second lug of slipstreaming, goes for it again. Euler gets out of the way because he's not really racing him. Harley can go through, surely. Yes, he does. Nicely done. Euler slips down to 9th. He'll now have to get out of the way for Casa. Paresis had a tardy end to that lap. If not, actually, it could be because Casa was getting a double toe down the straight. That may have helped him slightly. The gap back up to 3. And Paresis now has to deal with that little pairing of Euler and Hamnet. Hamnet's still not out of the way there for the Tyrant Motorsport driver. 2.2 the gap now. So Paresis eats in. Munch, Pac-Man. No one else quite popping into the pits yet. Still 17 runners and riders remaining in this American Grand Prix for GPVWC. Hamnet has got out of the way for Casa, but that very well has brought the gap down to 1.6, and now Euler's having a go back at Harley Hamnet, and Paresis is stuck behind this little squabble now. As they go side by side for turn 1, this is a battle that Euler does not want to be part of, really. Hamnet drops behind. What this is doing, though, potentially, is halting the progress of Lucas Euler against the likes of Cooper and Vanderpool, because the gap is increasing all the time. Oh, Paresis versus Hamnet. Paresis goes through. I thought Hamnet was tapped there slightly. Paresis now gets through on Euler. All of this time that he's backing off is losing more time against the Vanderpool and Cooper little scrap that he's kind of aiming for towards the end there. But Paresis up to second. I'll see what net gain or loss that is. I think it was a net gain over the whole thing, I think. The Nord zone up ahead as well, so that must be Luknovsky. So 2.1 the gap after all of that. So net gain for Paresis long term. Again, Hamnet up with Euler. Like a feisty Jack Russell having a go at a Great Dane. But Harley's back through again, same move as last time, same execution. Will he keep it though up to 8th position this time by? Of course he has to pit again and switch on to those hard tyres. We're going to try and leave it to the last minute. We're on 79% race completeness, sorry. At 59 of 73. And that's Alex Cooper in from 6th position. So this is going to be the telling point, because if Cooper can get back out ahead of Lucas Euler, onto the hards he goes, that is going to really determine whether or not Euler is going to be able to attack Vandervoort and Co. And Cooper's already trundling down the pit lane. Euler's onto the back straight. Yeah, I think Cooper's got it over the brick lane. Homage back to ye old times, and Cooper's well out. So this has not worked for Euler, because Hamnet and Euler there did not leapfrog Cooper, and Tom Vandervoort can only really go a little bit faster, you would have thought. Though it looks like 8th could very well be the top-notch place there. Cooper gets out of the way for the leaders. Of Casa first, and then it'll be Paresis in a sec. There's a Nord zone tucked in there too. And this time I think the traffic's not going to quite fall into Paresis' hands the well. Depending on how they act, the Nord zone gets out of the way beautifully. Well done there, Boyd. Pavel, sorry. That's a change going on elsewhere. It's Tom in this time round, along with a Woods driver, Ben Warren. So Tom, is he able to stay ahead of Cooper, because Cooper's got the much better pit crew in the Midnight Motorsport guys? Trundling out, no! He's got it. He's got it. Harley Hamnet's in too from what was 8th. So Tom stays 6th, Cooper's 7th, Euler is 8th, Harley will be in 9. because he's coming out of the pits, and then it's the Red Archers who have already changed onto the soft compound. So they're trying to get their fastest laps going possible. So Harley may be under attack now, as Ruud Heasterbeek has pitted and rejoined, still in third place as well. Lee Morris trundling down the pit straight, I think will come out just behind. Yeah, he does. Heasterbeek beats Morris out, but Morris needs to pit again. Redshaw's still in fifth, so it's all kind of shaking itself out. And sadly for Euler, it's not worked out for him in the championship. That was Jason Muscat going a bit wide in turn one. Rouse is in from 12th position as he sticks on the... He's gone for another set of the softs. I hope he's had the hards on at some point. I'm sure he has. Wooden spoon battle will be interesting to see, because Bryson's on the hard tyres, Libier's on the soft, and there's only a couple of seconds between them. So we'll keep an eye on the wooden spoon battle as Paresis takes the lead. Casa is first to blink and goes for the hard tyres. How long can Paresis keep going at the speed that he is on the softs? And will that give him any advantage at all? There's a Nijo and a Woods just further up the road, so he's got to think of that. And sometimes any of the gain that you gain on the tyres can be lost by a dodgy back marker getting in, or being unfortunate enough to be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. But no, Paresis straight in the following lap. Comes to his box. 19.8 the gap it was between Casa and Paresis. Not enough, I would hazard a guess at saying. Paresis a better exit this time by, but Casa's already plummeting down the straight. As Paresis gets up to speed, through goes Casa. It ain't by much, but it's enough. And Casa retakes the lead from Paresis. Heasterbeek is still within 10 seconds in third. Then it's Lee Morris, Lewis Redshaw, Tom Vandervoort, Alex Cooper, Lucas Euler. I wonder if that'll be a switch through of positions, if they believe in team orders. Harley Hammond is in 7th, then the Red Archers of Muscat and Jump closing him in for 10th and 11th. Woods Racing have got a 12-13 for Warren and Rouse. Then it's Lipnowski, who's just behind actually. Then Boyd Bryson, Kenny Libier and Morton Vernonson. Rouse and Lipnowski. They were battling right at the very beginning of that race, and they've kind of rejoined their battle after all of their different or slightly different permutations of strategy. It's not really mattered either way. They're still exactly as they were. And still nose to tail, which is exactly what we like. It's been a slow burner this one. Now Casa and Paresis under a second apart. And we're on lap 64 of 73. The wick has slowly been turning. Apologies if I've been a wee bit flat. It's been a knackering week for myself. But I promise you I'll be back to my screamy old best if this kicks off. Euler's taken a second out of Cooper that lap, so I assume that that swappage will take place. Look at how Paresis is eating into Casa. Casa's not quite switched on these tyres by the looks of it. And Paresis straight round the banked corner, and I think that's going to be close enough to get into the slipstream. Down the home straight. 0.551 the gap as they cross the line to start 65 of 73. A little bit of grass on the exit of 2. Brave stuff. Visibly see him eating in. He's caught up 500ths in that sector, but it's this sector where a lot of the time can be won or lost, because the other one you're kind of just flowing through. Look at that, right up onto the rear now as they get into the double hairpin. Such a tricky, awkward, clumsy corner. Slightly different lines out of the exit. 3/10 the gap as they cross the sector 2 beam, and this is now definitely going to be slipstreaming action for Jim Paresis as they come around the banked curve. Keep as close into it as you possibly can. There comes the slipstreaming, the suction up onto the rear. Jim Paresis pulls out, having a look at Casa. What's Casa going to do? Is he going to defend? Doesn't need to. Paresis pulls back in again. Casa had enough of a racing speed advantage to cling on to it down the straight. Now Mr. Melhuish will be a little bit shaking. In the last couple of corners, everyone else pretty much okay, apart from the Warren, Rouse and Luknovsky scrap for 12, 13, 14. We'll keep you a little beady eye on that in the corner of my view. The leading duo of Casa and Paresis. Again, Paresis just bides his time round the lap and gets himself back onto the back again. I wonder if he's thinking, right, well, this time I'm going to have a proper stab at it. Who knows? As Adam Rouse overtakes Ben Warren for 12th and 13th position, so the Woods have swapped round. And here's Paresis once again onto the back of Petacaz across the line. 66 completed. Pulls out again, ever so slightly closer this time by 100th he was. But no, pulls back in again. He's not going to do the silly move. Obviously, there is a team at stake here for a 1-2, which is something I don't think Torrent have been able to do all season long. Apart from last time out, obviously, in Germany. But it was Paresis that got that one. And oh how Casa would like to get his winning streak off to a bang. Paresis has had both of them so far. Back in terms of podiums, Casa has more. 4 versus 3. This time again, Paresis right onto the back. What's it this time? It's even closer. That's nigh on exactly 1/10. So the closest Paresis has been. Is he going to go for it? No. But this time he does not pull in. Aha. The confidence is building. Luknovsky's just got round Ben Warren for 13th and 14th off your screens as well. So Ben dropping down at the order on the harder tyres whilst those two are on the softer. Casa clings on. Like that floater you can just never quite flush. It's there. Staring you at the eyes. Egging you on. Paresis tardy out of that corner. I don't think this will be quite the mounted challenge. Much further back, you got onto the curbs on the exit of that final turn, so it will take you another lap to recover. Elsewhere it's still Heasterbeek third, Morris 4, Redshaw 5. Van der Vault's off! Van der Vault's off! Uh-ohs! And that's down at turn 3. Yeah, turn 3, spins round, smacks the wall. Past goes Cooper and Euler. That will not help teammate Heasterbeek out at all, because that was championship points thrown away. And Tom, who's done so well, but he keeps saying that he has this like one weird error each race. And it's really putting him off at the minute, and unfortunately it's happened to Tom again. I have to give him some extra TLC later to, maybe that's what's scaring him, the thought that I might. It's like, no, barriers, get away. So, poor Tom. rejoining in 8th. I have to say, actually, during practice, I found turn 3 a wee bit tricky to get exactly the optimal line through. But then once you do it, because it features so much into turns 1 and 2, it becomes part of it, so you don't necessarily think of them as separate corners in a way, because you're just constantly going round. As again, Paresis onto the back of Casa. This time under a tenth for the first time. Is this going to be the first dab through of Crash Eyes? Yes, it's going to be! Casa gave him the room, but made a quite definite no. At the same time, on lap 69 completed, so on lap 70 now, 73. 3 to go. Little time left to do it, and Paresis got to just make sure whatever he does do is going to be done properly. Oiler's actually dropped back a second from Cooper. There's now 6 seconds of gap between those, so maybe they won't reverse them. That'd be interesting if that comes down to a championship decision, and that's the difference. Paresis though, having a completely different exit out of that double hairpin. Not quite the optimal kick off the final turn. He's close enough to once again just slipstream up onto the back. As Ben Warren has just overtaken Luknovsky. Luknovsky in the pits off your screens. Paresis onto the back, this time over a tenth though, so he's been pulling back in with those efforts. Does so again. So not quite sure why Luknovsky's into the pits, but he's into the pits and back out again on a hard tyre. I wonder if he... No, he was on a hard tyre earlier, surely he is. Paresis has a slightly different look at Casa for the first time, so now he's trying different places, and Casa runs slightly wide there for Jim. And look at that, there's some traffic up ahead that may very well play a part. It's a Nijo of Tom Vandervoort, a Woods of Ben Warren. So hopefully they'll stay far enough ahead that it won't matter, but I think they're going to catch that Woods maybe next lap round. They complete lap 71 or 73. Paresis not quite as close this time by, I don't think. That's right up onto the back. He was quarter of a second off. Nope. Definitely not the way to do it that time by, but his most definitive stab came after one of those back off laps from before, so I wonder if he's just cooling things down to then go for a proper attack afterwards. Luknovsky rejoined in 15th position, by the way. He's doing the final point, only just ahead of Boyd Bryson, so we can keep a miniature eye on that. Same with Tom Vandervoort has caught Lucas Euler for 7th and 8th, so maybe Lucas may end up behind him there as well. So plenty still to happen in these last 2 laps. Here is Jim, and there is that Woods racing car. I told you he'd be in the way. Jim tries to get the last bit of streaming possible. This could very well be what determines it, because he's pulling out earlier. Much earlier than before. Side by side they go. Casa's now on the inside, slightly disadvantaged. Paresis goes through and takes the lead. Can he hold it down into 1? He's taking the outside line. Indeed he does so, using the back marker beautifully there. Jim Paresis takes the lead of the American Grand Prix. Casa pushed out wide there for turn 3. Gets tucked back in. He's not done yet. And my goodness me, this is the last lap. So, Paresis has timed it to perfection if he can, but what can Casa do? There's still time to get into the slipstream and go, do you know what? I will get you down onto the inside curve if he can. But that was an inspired piece of beautiful driving. Estoril 96. Ben Warren equals Giovanni Lavaggi. It can happen, but Casa not quite with it on the the final turn exit. He's not going to be able to do anything. And Jim Paresis timed his move to pure perfection. It all stars aligned, and Parisis comes across the line to win by less than 1/10 of a second from his teammate Petter Kassa. A Torrent Motorsport 1-2 here for the GPVWC Super League IP Forge American Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff there. Ruud Heesterbeek gets the final podium, and that's beautiful for him. Morris has grabbed 4th, or will grab 4th, ahead of Lewis Redshaw. Cooper is 5. Tom Vandervoort has passed Lucas Euler for 7th and 8th positions, would you know? And actually, he's almost caught back up with Alex Cooper. Such is the speed that Tom has suddenly found in those last few seconds. So that's a real shame there for Tom. They're just coming home there now. So great stuff from Morris and Redshaw. Morris wins out that one. Cooper coming around for 6th. Tom Vandervoort, great pace, but just those problems. 7th place. Euler 8th. That will not help his championship cause at all. Hamnet 1 lap down 9. Muscat 10 and Junt 11. So they keep their positions. They nearly caught Hamnet, but not quite. Rouse 12th, also 1 lap down. Then 2 down. Ben Warren, who was instrumental in that change for the lead there. Leibeer in 14th place. More points for the Kernow driver as he picks up more at the back. Pavel Dubnovsky, 15th position. Last point there for Nordzone. Again, Nordzone fading away. And then the non-scorers were Boyd Bryson in 16th position and Morten Vernonson in 17th. Just seeing Pavel Dubnovsky just spin turn into the pit lane. Lols. Your retirements: Stephen DM disconnected, lap 25. Vinod Moodley crashed into the pit wall on lap 19. How very Roberto Moreno of you. Bart DeVos disconnected on lap 8, sadly, after a great start. Kieran Ryan was crashed out on lap 5, and Oscar Hardwick also crashed out after coming together with Harley on lap 5 as well. So that injects some nice fuel into the old championship, doesn't it? Because with that kind of gap in points, that does help Heesterbeek catch up a good collection of points, and that'll put them under 20 between each other, I think. So again, less than a win. So that is very much needed, in less than a second. So fab stuff for them as ever. Midnight keep holding on to the constructors lead, although Nijo did close in slightly there. And we'll have to do it all again. All again. All again. So, as I said earlier on, still 3 races left to go. So the next one we've got will be on the 24, 25, 26 at Abu Dhabi, Formula Challenge on a Tuesday, Super Cup Wednesday, and obviously Super League on the Thursday, where my dulcet tones will be boring you all to death. Then we've got the 8th, 9th and 10th of October for Japan, and of course the season finale at the end of October in Brazil. Will we still have a champion to decide when we get to Brazil is entirely up to 2 guys, Ruud Heesterbeek and Lucas Euler. So I think that's pretty much everything that we've got. We've got no one coming down for a chat. I think they're all knackered. So I will say thank you very much to Simon Melhuish for being the patient cameraman extraordinaire, as he always is. Thank you very much. Cheers to IP Forge for sponsoring today's event. And my name's Simon Smith. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. You lot all take care. See you soon.